we all know that the housing industry is critically important to the overall health of our economy. And in your testimony, you indicated support for a first-time homebuyers tax credit. How could this type of tax credit jumpstart the housing market and help home builders and firms like Consul?
Well, the home building industry actually reaches into many business sectors, and so by enacting a first-time tax credit for home buyers, that would stimulate the purchase of new homes, and that would help the home building industry. But the home building industry, just looking at the association, is really about a third of their membership. A lot of the members are like me, so it would also stimulate the retail industry, the building supply industry, the energy services industry, which I'm a member of, and the financial industry. So I think it would have a very large effect on companies, small businesses like mine, by getting the housing market back on track.
Can you give me some suggestions as to how this can be structured so that it just not jumpstart the housing market, but also encourage the development of affordable housing?
Well, assuming the home tax credit is a first-time tax credit, that's going to affect the affordable market. I think the proposals that have been in the Senate and the Ways and Means Committee have been around $7,000. So that really only addresses the, I would say, affordable housing market, the first-time home buyer. So I think that would have the impact. And right now, the housing economy needs any sales, but the sales that are critically absent right now are the first-time home buyer, the person who's trying to afford that home for the first time, both because of the availability of product, but also the lack of financial qualifications. The credit market is very, very difficult to qualify in.
Thank you. Mr. Fisher, with an increasing number of small firms having access to the Internet in various communities, many have opted to advertise online. I would like to get your perspective on the trends Google is seeing with small business e-commerce. Are more small businesses advertising on the Internet?
First thing that I would say about small businesses overall, and that this committee surely knows well, is some of the biggest challenges small businesses face are in time and resources, that it's often one person or just a handful of people trying to drive a business. And so we see more and more people coming online, but part of what's allowing that is tools of the sort that Google offers, that other companies offer, to make it easier for companies to establish an online presence, which is a critical step, obviously. And then as that happens, we're seeing more and more businesses start to advertise their site, and we see many, many success stories through advertisers who come online and are able to take a small business and often grow it significantly. We have stories. I would point, for example, to one story of a real estate developer, a realtor in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, who's been in business since 1978. It's called Twitty Real Estate, and they described that the difference between they described themselves as having the dark ages before they came online, and now they sort of describe themselves as being in a renaissance, because they said they've been able to target people much more specifically through advertising to find people who are searching for rentals on the Outer Banks, whereas before they might just have to buy newspaper advertising or do something, or brochure mailings in a much broader way. And so it's that targeting that's really allowing small businesses to reach out to their niche audience very effectively.
If we see that it has a significant impact on small businesses, can you talk to the committee about what tools does Google offer to assist small businesses, and are they affordable?
Absolutely. The first thing that Google does is take that first critical step of helping businesses come online who may not be online. And as I said, often time is a big constraint. So Google's local business center allows small businesses to come and actually register, create a presence online, and be found through Google Maps when you search in your neighborhood for the local plumber or bakery or electrician, so that they have a presence and they have a basic website. And then we offer free, and that is free, and we offer other free tools that allow you to build out a more dynamic website as much as you want to build. And then the advertising, and that enables you to both move into advertising, online advertising, which I mentioned. There's only a $5 sign-up fee, and you control your budget. We give you a great deal of ability to target exactly the audience that you want to reach, and to manage your budget as appropriate for your business. And out of that, we see many examples of people generating very high return on investments. And then finally, I would point to our ads program called AdSense, where we allow you to place our ads on your website. And that was some of the examples that I mentioned earlier, and generate revenue that way as well. And that, again, is not only free, it actually generates revenue. But all of these, we aim to set up tools that people can access free of charge as much as possible.
Mr. Meisner, with shoppers becoming more internet savvy, the competition to attract new customers is growing more intense. What advantages do small firms have when it comes to attracting new customers?
It's a great question, Chairwoman. The advantage that a small business has is that they can focus today on what they do and like most, what they do best and like most. They can focus on their businesses as opposed to trying to figure out the internet and the technology associated with it. If you look back a decade or a dozen years ago, the companies that were founded at the time, Mr. Fisher's company, my company, Yahoo, eBay, all founded by engineers. And that's because at the time they needed to be technically savvy people to understand the technology to operate on the internet. No longer is that the case. And so today's small businesses have the advantage of being able to concentrate on their niche markets, their specialties, their expertise, and then sell through the internet in a way that does not require them also to be technologists.
What challenges do entrepreneurs face in retaining customers as the number of online businesses continues to grow?
Yeah, I think it's a good news story, Chairwoman. They actually are doing quite well online. As I indicated, the size of the small business market online, the proportion of sales online by small businesses, I think is surprisingly large, and it is a good news story. The only sort of foreseeable concern that we have is one that we share with Mr. Fisher, which is somehow a closing of the internet would actually close off the markets to small businesses and entrepreneurs. And so we're anxious to see the openness of the internet preserved.
Thank you. Dr. Soros, in the past 15 years, we have noticed an increase in small business entrepreneurship that can be attributed to the internet. What is it about the economics of starting a business online that is so attractive to entrepreneurs?
Number of factors, and I think both of my colleagues have alluded to that in part. We describe this in part as the long tail, or the fact that now a small business can effectively reach niche markets and not have to have a brick and mortar's location and attempt to reach them by traditional means, but through the great reach and the breadth and the depth of the internet, be able to access customers who might not normally find them. This, combined with the fact that the relative investment is insignificant, if any at all, to establish an online presence, spurs many business owners to start their businesses in that virtual environment.
And what can you tell us Congress can do to continue to promote such activity?
I think there's many things that need to happen to promote that activity, not just in an online venue, but in the traditional venues as well.
Especially during these difficult times.
Especially in these times, yes. I think the SBIR grants are very important. Our experience at Babson College, my experience advising small companies, we need to focus significantly on science and technology and engineering. That is largely supported in part by government programs at the national level, more so than at the local level. I think innovation needs to be continued to be supported in our country, both from a policy perspective, through tax credits, as well as through educational efforts. And finally, encouraging women and minority ownership of entrepreneurial venues, activities, companies is essential as our country's demographics are shifting dramatically, and there's more of a need to be inclusive of these different demographics in the new economy.
Thank you. Mr. Steger, you spoke to us about the role that small business loan played in terms of providing access to capital for you to start up your business or some of your clients. Given the difficult times that we are in our economy, what do you think the SBA can do to spur greater investment in startup firms?
I don't know what we can do to increase it, but I'll tell you that the programs you have are very effective. The programs you had were able to let me build a building, which certainly helps the local economy. It allowed me to lock in my financing for 20 years, which gives me a nice, stable path in which to grow the economy. So I found those programs very effective, and I hope you continue them.
Yeah.